The woman's scream tore through the lonely footpath as she fell to the ground, clutching her leg. A thick, long snake disappeared back into the bushes, leaving only the burning mark of its bite. Villagers rushed to her side, lifting her trembling body and running straight to the one person they feared, yet needed, Ugo. Ugo stepped out slowly, her eyes not on the woman's pain, but on the gold shimmering on her wrists and neck. "Please, help me," the woman gasped. Ugo folded her arms. "I will heal you," she said calmly, "but I need 5 pieces of gold jewelry first." The villagers gasped. The woman cried out in shock, but Ugo simply waited, smiling. In the center of the village stood an ancient divine tree that healed any kind of sickness, broken bones, pain, fever, everything. This tree had always been the hero of the Okoro family, passed down to them from their ancestors, but there was a mystery surrounding it. No ordinary person could pluck its leaves except the chosen one. Throughout the history of the tree, there had always been one chosen person from the family, someone who possessed the power to communicate with the tree and heal people with anything that came from it. And for this 10th generation, a maiden was chosen. Her name was Ugo. She was tall, fair-skinned, beautiful, attractive, and admired by all. Ugo went on treating people with various illnesses, but along the way, she became greedy. She stopped giving free treatment and began collecting valuables before treating anyone. This had never happened in the history of the tree. No chosen one had ever demanded anything before healing people, only accepting whatever rewards people offered willingly out of appreciation. But Ugo cared less. She continued collecting valuables, tubers of yam, beads, wrappers, and many more precious items. Her mother warned her, "Ugo, don't demand people's valuables. Let your reward come willingly, not through force. A reward is better than a wage." But she ignored her mother's advice until her mother died. Even after her mother's death, she still didn't care. In fact, she became more excited knowing she now had the tree all to herself and could do anything she wanted with it. One morning, Mama Obi, an old widow, came to Ugo. "Ugo, please, my leg hurts," she said, trembling. Ugo smiled. "I will heal you," she replied, "but first give me 10 tubers of yam." What could a poor widow do? She didn't have up to 10 tubers, but she desperately needed her leg to be healed. And would Ugo even listen to her? A girl whom greed had consumed and blinded her emotions. Mama Obi went around, borrowing a few tubers and completed it with the little she had. She brought the 10 tubers of yam and gave them to Ugo just as she requested. Ugo squeezed the leaf and laid it on the woman's leg, and the pain disappeared instantly. Mama Obi wept with gratitude, while Ugo walked away smiling. She loved collecting what others valued. Ugo healed many people, but always demanded something in return. When a sick boy named Odili was brought to her, she demanded gold and a goat from his parents. After healing him, she walked away with the items without a second thought. Even her friends were not spared. Her friend Kambili came for healing, and Ugo demanded 7 expensive beads. Kambili wondered in pain, what kind of friend is this? The villagers admired her power, but feared her greed and pride. One day, a woman walked along a lonely path. She was dressed elegantly, different from the villagers, her jewelry gleaming with luxury. Suddenly, a snake slithered out of the bush and bit her. She screamed, attracting passerbys who quickly carried her to Ugo. Ugo looked at her, not at the pain, but on the wealth she could take. "I need 5 gold jewelry pieces before I can treat you," she demanded. The woman cried in pain, "My daughter, I will give you anything. Please, just heal me." Ugo shook her head. "I don't do charity work." The passerbys whispered to the woman, "Ma, she is a greedy healer. Please give her what she wants, otherwise she won't treat you." Reluctantly, the woman handed over all her gold jewelry. Ugo clutched them with a smile and healed her. The woman wondered how greed and how power has consumed a young girl like Ugo. A few days later, news spread that an oil well had been discovered in the village. A buyer had acquired the land and planned to demolish the huts and palm trees on it, including Ugo's healing tree. The victims cried. They wept for their homes, but at least it was just their houses that were affected. But Ugo? Her precious tree, her world, her pot of wealth, her power bank, everything she depended on was about to be destroyed. Where would she even start from? Maybe she could beg the stranger to spare the healing tree in exchange for any kind of healing. But that idea shattered when the buyer was finally revealed. That afternoon, the village leaders gathered everyone to meet the stranger who had bought the lands. As we all know, a part of our village has been sold and bought by someone who is not from this village, and this important person is in our midst today. I know some of us have pressing questions for her, so please, let's welcome Mrs. Alice. As the villagers chorused their greetings, the stranger stepped forward. And behold, it was the wealthy woman Ugo had refused to treat until she handed over all her gold jewelry. The moment Ugo saw her, her heart raced with fear. She wished the ground would open beneath her. The woman addressed the villagers. "I understand your pain. I'm not just going to demolish your properties and leave you stranded. I will build beautiful small apartments here in the village where you will have shelter and comfort." Then she turned to Ugo. "But as for her," she said, pointing at her with a smile, "this young lady told me she does not do charity work the other day. She refused to heal me until I gave her what she wanted. Today, I will not give her anything because I also do not do charity work. The high and almighty healing tree will be uprooted." The villagers shouted, "Yes, good for her. She deserves it. Bring down the tree because it is now causing us more harm than good." Ugo wept and bowed her head in regret. Her mother's words echoed in her heart, words about pride, selfish desire, and greed. She finally understood the truth. What you take by greed may vanish when you need it most. The woman stood up again and said, "Ugo, I will not demolish the tree for one reason. From now on, you will no longer collect people's valuables except for whatever you and the person agree on before treatment, something fair and affordable for anyone." Ugo quickly agreed. Then the rich woman turned to her again and said, "Power is not for taking advantage of others. Healing, help, and gifts should come from a willing heart. Pride and greed will leave you alone when you are in need. Be kind, be fair, and respect others, or your wealth and treasures will never save you." What did you learn? Please drop it in the comments section. Click the subscribe bell to subscribe, like, and share. And don't forget to turn on your notification button to know when another story drops.